Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFL Fantasy Fanatics video on the channel. Round 22 is done and we've only got a couple of weeks left now, but another fairly solid week in round 22 for me. A 23.82, that was a round rank of 6,152 and puts you an overall rank of 2,412. So all ending in twos with all the rankings and scores and stuff. But yeah, so up 294 spots again, which is nice. So we're still moving in the right direction. Yeah, so top 2K still very, very much alive and can certainly still make top 2K after a tricky start to the year, as I keep mentioning, I feel like every week. But yeah, hopefully we can do that, and you never know if we can go a little bit higher than that as well. So hopefully a big week or two to finish off the year. But team value also looking quite nice, near 25.2 million. So at least we've caught that up a little bit towards the back end of the year. Let's go to plus and minus 3 for the weekend. And plus 3 has got to go to the Adelaide Football Club's captain, Jordan Dawson. Gets my plus 3, 147, and he was also the top scoring player of the week. Certainly a big reason why the Crows got the job done in that heart-stopping sort of last very stressful last quarter. I certainly was very stressed watching it, but Jordan Dawson certainly stood up. 26 touches, 6 marks, 14 tackles. There's a reason why he's one of, if not the best all-round fantasy player going around. Like, I think he's definitely up the top couple there, and just gets it done pretty much most weeks, right? Like this year, he's had a lower score of 78. That was with the tag from Miles Burton in the showdown. He's had a couple of 80s, so he had like an 85 against North Melbourne. That was a bit of a weird game, that one. Sydney 86 and Gold Coast 88. But besides those three 80s, he's just gets pretty much high 90s and tons every week. So he's been really consistent all year. And again, season high score of 147. And he's got a couple of really good matchups to finish the year in Collingwood, who he does love playing, and then also North Melbourne in the last game. So Jordan Dawson, if you don't have him, he is a very good option to bring in. Minus 3. Who's going to get the minus 3? It's a few underperformers here. I've probably got to give it to Andrew Brayshaw. Actually, no. I gave it to Andrew Brayshaw on the pod, but I was going to give it to Josh Dacos with a 64, because 64 was disappointing. But actually, I will give it to Andrew Brayshaw, though, because Josh Dacos, a little bit of it was down to the Jeremy Howe injury, had to change roles late. So I'll leave it with Andrew Brayshaw, but I probably would give it to Josh Dacos. But I will talk about... I'll talk about Dacos first. So 64 is really disappointing. His lowest score of the year. And 64 was my only score sub 70 this week. So he's got the minus 3. I guess just want to go a little bit more with Andrew Brayshaw and why I gave him the minus 3 on the pod, because Lemon obviously gave Josh Dacos a minus 3 on the pod. But Andrew Brayshaw, 1 ton in his last 7 games. That is just unbelievably bad. 138 against Hawthorn in round 18 was his only ton. But those other scores, 99, 85, 90, 82, 90, 76. Hasn't gone over 90 in his last 4. So it's just, yeah, very, very bad. And hopefully he can find some form in the last couple, because I've got some big games against Brisbane and the Dogs, so he needs to find some form. But yeah, so the honourable mention to him. But Josh Dacos gets the minus 3 officially. But Andrew Brayshaw certainly on notice there. Let's go through the rest of the players as we always do. So we'll start off with the defence. So Nasai Wanganeen-Miller with a 118. I'll also sort of bunch in Jack Sinclair in this as well with a 146. So brought in Sinclair last week, not this week, gone the previous week, with an 85 or something, or 86 on debut. So I wasn't too happy with that. 81, sorry, even worse. But then 146 is certainly a way to make up for it. So very, very happy with that, averaging 110 in the 2 weeks I've had him, which is really, really nice. But 146 was great to have from him. And then Nasai Wanganeen-Miller, a slow start, but just got there in the end with a really, really solid score. And if you had him captain or Baz, you pretty much were pretty solid for the week there. So 118 for Nasai, fairly happy with that one. Max Holmes, though, not very happy with the 85. Got a little bit unlucky with a few probably questionable free kicks against him. I certainly thought a couple of them were a bit stiff. Maybe one of them was probably fine, but he gave away 3 free kicks, and I think a couple of them were holding the balls. That could have been a ton easily on another day, right? So just unfortunate that he didn't get it done against the Bombers, but they've now got Sydney, who could get some attention from a Jordan. Then they go into a richer matchup. So hopefully he can go okay, but yeah, maybe a tag this week from James Jordan. Harry Sheeds with a 108 was good as well. Again, just getting it done week after week, just pumping out tons. I think he was on 40 at halftime last week. Still 68 point last half. Still found a way So what's that? Since the mid-season bye, he's only had those 2 games. The round 16 with the 65 against Hawthorn, and then round 17 with a 93 against the Dogs. They're the only 2 games below a ton. And that was only his second of those tons on the weekend that were below 110. So he's just been really consistent, getting it done, and he's got Richmond this week. So if you don't have Sheasel, this is a great time to be jumping on board. And Lockie Whitfield, the 91, happy with the 118 he got last week, but the 91 was okay. He doesn't actually really score well against North Melbourne. One of his, I think it's his worst team to score against, and another sub-ton from him. But he's now got Gold Coast in the Saints, so I think he'll have a really good end to the year. Luke Callum Mills, so I was able to loop Mills, Rosie, and Warner as like the 23rd premium and able to loop a couple of those scores. So loop didn't choose to loop on the Mills 73 because I ended up playing a forward instead, which I'll chat about him. Probably unlucky not to get the +3, to be honest, because he was very, very good. Jed Bustling at 29 got subbed out as well. Could be in trouble for his spot this week because he got subbed out after a bad mistake that led to a Melbourne goal. Going to the midfield now, so Nick Dacos with an 88. So that's now back-to-back games, sub 100 for Nick Dacos. And I think both have been, no, he got 92 against Brisbane. But yeah, so a couple of down performances. You think that he'll have a good performance at some point. Loves playing the Crows, has some good scores against them. Only scored the 88 against them earlier this year, but I do expect him to have a better showing. Part of me hopes he doesn't, because I'd like Dawson had the better game, get the 3 votes and get the Brownlow, but I guess we'll have to find out how that goes. But yeah, Dacos, I'm sure he'll respond in this game, and he's got Melbourne in the final game, where do they use Langdon to tag, or does Troy Chapman just go, no, we're not tagging, let's just go and play and not worry about it. So I guess we'll see. The Bont, 120, again, just continuing his very, very good back end to the year. So now averages up to 108 for the season. His only real blemish was that Sydney game in round 16 with the 72 since round 15, right? Because he obviously had a bit of a tricky showing after the bye. But since round 15, he's only had 2 scores under a ton, one of them being a 97 against GWS. And what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those 8 scores have been over 120. So just getting it done. And really, really good form from the Bont. Josh Dunkley as well, another player that's in really, really good form. Another 132. So been really happy since I've had him in. 112, 113, and then the 132 since I've had him. And if you brought him in round 18 or even 17, got the 78, but then got all these good scores after, you'd be very, very happy. 5 scores over 110, 3 of them over 130. Like, it's a very, very good form from him. And definitely someone you need to finish out the year. And it looks like I think locking Neil out, maybe a bit of extra responsibility to get the ball, get it forward, those type of things. I think Josh Dunkley's just going to keep getting it done. So very, very happy to have him in the side. Jordan Dawson, as I mentioned, they're 147. Very, very happy with that. Tom Green, 95. Well, I guess I can't be too disappointed with the score, right? Because yeah, it's okay for him. It's just. That's his first score in the 90s, actually, for a long time. He's pretty much gone either over 100 or sub 80 the last 6. So last 5. So I'm at least happy. Sorry, last 6. At least I'm happy he got a 90. But yeah, North Melbourne should have done better. I'm hoping against Gold Coast he scored 119 against them not that long ago. Only ran 15. So I'm hoping he can put in a big performance here. But yeah, it's just been a tough end to the year for Green, and someone I'll probably be using to loop with the 23rd premium that I do have in the team now. Andrew Brayshaw, I mentioned him, very disappointed there. Chris Petrarca on the chopping block this week with a 71. Disappointed with him. It was one of the North Melbourne boys that was in the mids, but put Petrarca in here because he played later, just so I had a bit more flexibility to change if I needed. And then used the Charlie Edwards loop, who I brought in last week to loop on Rosie's 103. They're taking that over Callum Mills' score, as I was able to take the best score of the 2 there with the looping. Brody Grundy, 83. Obviously, disappointing score, but obviously it's even disappointing that he's now going to be missing this week with concussion, so he is a trade, unfortunately, this week. But it's been great from the Ruck Pig. Been great to own him again and have some really good scores from him. So shout out to the Ruck Pig, but yeah, unfortunately, he has got to go because he's missing this week. Marshall as well, 135. Very, very good performance from him again. That's back-to-back big ceiling scores from him, and he's going to be probably the most popular trade-in for Brody Grundy. So part of me's happy that I've got him, but then he's now also going to be not as unique as he was because everyone's just going to jump on him now because of the Grundy injury. But that's what happens with injuries and stuff when players going really well. So at least I'm happy I've had him for these last couple of weeks, and I'll be able to own him for the remainder of the season. Moving to the forward line, Baz with the 120. Decided obviously to take that, which I'm I'm happy about. I would have had Nasai captain and gained the 2 points. Grundy was my other option, and he went the 83. So pretty happy that I took the 120, took the best score. Would have been good if I'd looked at Jordan Dawson. But to be fair, only Dawson, Dunkley, and Jack Sinclair were scored more than Baz in my team, and I didn't really consider those 3 over anyone. I considered Dawson for a little bit, but I just thought maybe if the Crows are up, he might have been rested. But certainly they were not for very long, that's for sure. But Baz 120, very, very happy with him. And what's his average is still 117. Still obviously had an amazing year. Obviously just had a few missed games, and that's been frustrating. But now 3 scores in a row over 110. He's certainly back to some good form, which is good to see. Now it's done that thing again where it doesn't show the scores. Shows projected. There you go. Luke Jackson, 104, was really good as well, playing a lot in the midfield. Not as much in the ruck on the weekend. That was a lot to Darcy. But yeah, 104, back-to-back tons for him. 3, and then the 97 even before that. So really good form. Brisbane and the Dogs to finish. So some good matchups for rucks if he does play a bit more in the ruck. And he's a top 6 forward. Happy to have him there for the remainder of the season. Along with Grind Myers, who I brought in last week for a 96. He scored, I think it was... what is it? I think he had like 69 points in the first and third quarter combined. He had 27 in the second and fourth combined. So a bit disappointing he couldn't, I guess, have another better quarter in the second or fourth quarter to really get that sort of 110 score. But 96 to forward, we take it, right? 96 is pretty solid there. Along with Luke Parker, who was second highest scoring forward for me this week. I don't know, was he the second highest scoring forward for the week? No, Toby Green, Baz, and then Parker. But yeah, 116, I was quite surprised with that, to be honest. He was out for me for a bit of the week, him or McCarthy. When Mills dropped to 73, I decided to play Parker over Mills, so that just meant putting a defender back into my defence. Who did I put back into defence? Harry Sheasel. Put Harry Sheasel back in defence, put Petrarca into the forward line, then put Parker on field. And 116, I was very, very impressed with that. And he looked really good as well. I thought he was one of North Melbourne's best players on the day. Had 29 touches, 6 marks, 5 tackles. So really good stat line. Got stuck on the bench in the last quarter for the first half of the quarter, which was a bit frustrating when he was on 94 at three-quarter time. But 116, very, very happy with that from a forward. And he's now got Richmond. So for someone that I was probably looking at trading this week, is someone that now I'll be holding and could even be a hold for the remainder of the year, because I got the Crows in last week. They might want to put in a more experienced body there for the last game, but who knows? He'll probably be someone I'll loop with anyway there. So yeah, Parker, very happy with him with a 116. I believe that was a season high score for him. Yeah, it was 113 against Sydney earlier this year was his season high score, and he's now turned up in 3 of his last 5. It's just the other 2 scores have been a 48 and a 61. So yeah, disappointing. But if you look at his scores since round 13, he's gone ton, sub-ton, ton, sub-ton, ton, sub-ton, ton, sub-ton, and ton, which probably means he's going to go under ton this week. But he's got Richmond, so I'm hoping that is not the case. Caleb Daniel with a 70. It was a tough matchup against GWS. He's got Richmond this week, so I'll hold him for that one. Unless he was to be dropped, then obviously I'd keep him and trade him, maybe keep Petrarca if that's the case. But yeah, Richmond should do a lot better in this one here. And then he's got the Crows in the final game. I think the Crows had a 115 against earlier this year, and Richmond... What did he score? 77. So not great, but we know Caleb Daniels he's like all the other forwards, right? You're probably not going to get a huge upgrade from anyone from him. Like, I don't have a Kennedy, so that's someone that I could trade him to. But yeah, I guess we'll have to see, right? Chad Warren 94, obviously was able to use the loop, and yeah, very happy with the 94 for a forward. So use Mentha as my looper. And then Jasper Alga didn't play, and then Ashton Moore in the utility with a 38. So not huge score. Didn't make a huge amount of money, but he'll just be some solid forward cover for the remainder of the year. So what do you got? 17k, breaking into 34. So his cash gen's done, but obviously can't do anything about it now, right? It's pretty much end of the year. Can't really. I don't think I'll be able to. I might be able to trade him out next week, but this week I certainly won't be able to with the Grundy forced out, which goes to my trades for the week. So yeah, Grundy's obviously out, so I've got to deal with that. So Grundy will go to obviously one of English or Gawn for me. I'm thinking English at the moment. I like the last 2 matchups. West Coast this week's a great matchup, but I could go Gawn as well. And then Petrarca at the moment is the guy I'm trading out. So I'm looking at going him to a Matt Kennedy and putting one of those forwards into the mids, because put Rosie on here, put Mills on here. I've technically got a 7th forward, but I can use, because I've got enough dual positions, I can use the loops sort of around. So I can like loop a Tom Green this week. I can loop. I won't be able to loop Mills because he plays the last game, but I might be able to loop someone that plays before him. I'll be able to loop. I'll just be able to loop a couple of players. So that's what I'm probably going to look to do. And then with my second trade, I'm probably looking at going Petrarca up. Just the role's not there and just not getting it done. So he'll go. And I'm looking at bringing in Matt Kennedy. I'm looking at finally getting Matt Kennedy in the team. If I was to go Gawn, I could get a Noah Anderson. And if I was to go Gawn and maybe trade a Mills out, I might be able to get an Errol Goulden if I wanted to. But I don't know. I think the best trades on my side this week is probably going to getting Kennedy and English because they've both got West Coast. Great matchup. First up at Marvel. I think they'll both put in some good performances and some good scores. So I'm thinking about getting Dogs duo of English and Kennedy, but a little bit to work out throughout the week to see where we go with trades because we've only got 4 left. So 2 this week, 2 next week, then we're done for the season. So come up really, really quick, and hopefully I can sneak into the top 2K. I think top 1,000. I don't think I'll be able to get there. Maybe top 1,500 if we had a couple of really good weeks. But then again, if I have a top 100 week left in me in the last couple of weeks, then maybe all of a sudden I can maybe finish top 1,000, right? But I'll keep all sort of options open. But top 2K is the main goal if we can get there. So we will see what happens in the final fortnight of the season. But let me know in the comments below, guys, how you guys went in round 22. Let me know your score, your round rank, your overall rank, and your plus and minus 3 for the week. Apologies about this being a little bit later. Obviously did the AFLW pod yesterday. I had to try to get that out there because obviously that starts on Thursday night. So I thought I'd get that out at first, and then this would be today. So, but we will be live tonight for our Q&A as always. Same time, same place, 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. per time. Answering all your questions ahead of the second to last week of the season, the penultimate week of fantasy for 2025. Get your questions in and head over to jump in live and get your questions answered. So, and if you want to jump in on the Patreon for the last couple of weeks and get a couple of team reviews, jump in the Patreon Q&As or shout us a coffee or a pint, head over to patreon.com/AFL Fantasy Fanatics or click the link in the description below. So smash a big thumbs up in the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we'll catch you guys in the Q&A later on tonight. So thanks everyone, have a good night, see ya.